What is going on, all you lawn care and landscaping enthusiasts? My name is Jack Duffy, and welcome back to the Green Collar Podcast. A little, hey, how are you? Hopefully you guys are getting prepped and ready for the craziness that is spring rush, and that's kind of where we're going to go with this week's videos, man. We're talking about prepping for spring rush on Wednesday. We're talking about mowing guide for all you guys starting out. What cheaper mowers can you buy that are more cost efficient to start out? And today's video, we are going to have possibly the number one debate in the lawn care industry, stand-on machines versus sit-down zero-turn. So let's get into it. Let's have this conversation in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys are rocking, number one, in your fleet, stand-on, zero-turn, a mix of both, or do you have a preference? What is your preference? Do you prefer stand-ons? Do you prefer sit-down, zero-turn mowers? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to get a conversation going. Let's get into the video. Roll the intro. Okay, so let's get into this debate. Stand-on mowers versus sit-down zero-turn mowers. Which is better? It's not really that kind of argument. In my personal opinion, it's not. I think both are very viable machines and should have both in your fleet because of different property types. The thing about different property types is some of us, I think the majority of us, have a multitude of different style of properties. I have a few that are massive like this one, and I have many that are more residential like this one, where a stand-on would work more on the residential side versus a sit-down would work way better on a bigger open where you're mowing a lot more acreage in an open field, say on commercial lots. A sit-down mower is way more comfortable and way more viable when it comes to those open areas, whereas in an enclosed area on a smaller property type, a stand-on machine is way more versatile. You can see everything that's in front of you. You can feel everything behind you because you just have to do one of those quick little turns because there's nothing behind you. On a sit-down machine, on those small residentials, if you're backing the machine up and you have a fence there, you got to kind of do one of these, like, I hope I don't hit anything, because you have to look over the engine, look over the bar. You have to make sure that you're not going to hit anything. On a stand-on machine, you just back up, you have your hands like this on the machine, and you're looking like this. It's that simple. The other part of it is, if you're going to back into anything, you have to be aware of your surroundings, because the first thing that's going to hit is you. And you want to make sure if you're backing up into a fence, you're not going to get crushed by it in between the mower and the fence. So that's another part of it. Residential properties, I think stand-ons are the king. They are superior because they are way more versatile around those obstacles, such as trees, sidewalks, curbs, all of those things that you can see in front of you. Fenced-in areas are a big one. That's the biggest one in my personal opinion, because you can see everything that's in front of you and behind you very easily. Whereas a sit-down machine, you're kind of always looking over like this, making sure there's no dog toys or dog shit or baby toys or anything like that in front of you that you could possibly run over and send down the goddamn street. You don't want that because it could hit somebody, or it could hit a car, or it could hit a window. That's an insurance problem. You don't want that. Whereas a stand-on machine, you see everything that's in front of you. It's way more versatile on those properties. But like I said, the zero turn also is a viable thing for a different property type that is much bigger and has its way more thing. If you hit a divot or a root, if you go over one of those, to sit in that machine and take it because of the suspension seat, and it keeps you in place. Whereas if you hit one with a stand-on machine, the only thing holding you on there is your hands on the fucking handlebars, making sure you don't fly off the damn thing. Believe me, there have been many times where I've hit a divot in the lawn or gone over a root around a tree, and you're like holding on for fucking dear life. Believe me, zero turns are way more superior and way more comfortable when it comes to those bigger open areas where it's just straight mowing, and it's much more easier to handle. Whereas your hands are like this all day with this stand-on machine, it's a little harder sometimes to keep the line straight. Whereas a sit-down machine, it's just cruising. So a huge talking point when it comes to this argument or this debate is the fatigue and physical impact. I've heard a lot of people say that sit-down mowers takes a brunt on your back. I've heard a lot of people say stand-on mowers takes a brunt on your legs because you're standing all day. I've heard every argument. Here's the thing. In my personal opinion, from using both style machines, yes, I have felt way more back pain when I use the sit-down mowers. I don't feel as much when I'm on the stand-on mowers on my legs because my legs are now used to it. You work the muscles, your muscles get used to it, and you're good to go. The only time where I would say that the stand on isn't as comfortable as a sit down mower is, like I was mentioning, going over bumps, going over divots, going over roots. You're definitely more, there's more of a chance that you could be bounced around. Whereas if you're going over them with a sit down mower, as I mentioned before, you have the suspension seat that it kind of just keeps you in place. That I completely agree with. But when you're sitting like this all day, it does take a brunt on your back. It definitely, I felt it in my personal life where before I had the V Ride, my V Ride 2, I would feel back pain all the time. When I started now running the V Ride 2 way more than the zero turn sit down that I have in my fleet, I definitely feel a much more relief at the end of the day on my back. The only other part of that with the stand on is it's way more tiring if you've never used a stand on. And the reason I say that is because your body isn't used to standing all day in a very still position. The other part of it that I noticed when I first started on a stand on was my forearms were cooked. The muscles that you use in just this little confined area where you're doing this all day long, bro, the first few weeks that you start on a stand on, if you've never ran one before, your arms are going to be cooked. I have a guy on my crew who literally is in the gym all of the time. He is absolutely shredded. And I said, bro, the second you get on that thing, your forearms are going to be hurting. He's like, no way, dude. I'm work out. I'm in the gym all the time. At the end of the day, he was like, yeah, dude, like my forearms are absolutely shot. They are on fire right now. And I said, yeah, because you're not used to working those kinds of muscles and doing it as much as you do throughout the day. If you have an 8-hour day and you're mowing majority of it on a stand-on machine and you're not used to that and you haven't worked those muscles before, you're going to feel it. So for beginners, I think a sit down is way more comfortable and way easier when it comes to the physical demand of learning these machines. Don't get me wrong. I do believe that the stand on eventually is a safer and better for your physical health. But in the beginning, I definitely think it's way more strenuous on your body when you're learning how to maneuver that and getting used to standing in a position all day long. And if we're going to talk about health and safety when it comes to physical impact and that kind of thing, I think that has to be mentioned that yes, the stand-on mower is way better when it comes to emergencies. We've all heard the horror stories of people getting trapped under mowers that have flipped. I've had a very personal experience where one of my coworkers' husbands almost had that happen to him. Thankfully, he was okay, but we all have all heard those horror stories where a machine just goes like this and you're trapped in there because they didn't jump up off in time or they didn't have time to react. It happens. When it comes to the stand-on machine, though, you have time to just step off the machine. If you start to feel it going, you have the ability to either jump off the machine or stand or step off the machine because nothing is in front of you or nothing's behind you to stop you from doing that. So when it comes to emergencies like that, the stand-on is superior because you can just step right off the machine or jump off the machine without any concern of it hitting you or falling on top of you. And I get that zero-turn mowers, sit-down mowers have the bar so you don't have that happen, but still, you could be trapped under there even with that bar, and you might not have any physical help, but you could be trapped under there. And that's just very scary situation to be in. So take that into consideration as well. If you're doing a lot of things that are a little bit on the sketchy side, take that into consideration when this debate comes up. So another part of this debate, if you're going to buy a stand-on versus sit-down and you're deciding which one is the best one for your profitability and your efficiency within your company, it all is based off of what clientele you have, what property types you have. In my personal opinion, stand-ons are the superior mower. They're the more versatile mower. When it comes to efficiency, I think they can be faster at times because they're lighter. I think they are easier to load onto a trailer and take off a trailer. I think you can save room on your trailer with stand-on mowers versus sit-down mowers because sit-down mowers are very bulky, whereas stand-on mowers are more slim trim. I think that saves you time when it comes to fitting things on your trailer, and they're less weight when it comes to fitting things on your trailer. And that goes back to the maneuverability of the stand-on machine. You could turn the machine sideways on your trailer like this. You could turn it in backwards. My stand-on machine all the time. We make sure that we go as far up as we can, and then we fit another one, and then we fit another one if we can. Most times, though, if you have a sit-down mower and a stand-on mower, this is what I'm rocking right now, where we have both that we rock every day. It takes up a lot of room because of this, the size of the sit down mower on the trailer. It takes up the majority of the trailer. Whereas the stand on mower, if you had two stand ons, you might have a little more room, wiggle room to maneuver if you need to put on, say, a Toro recycler, a little guy that you need to just haul instead of loading it in your truck and taking it off at every site. All of these things add up with time during the day. It's not just loading it on in the morning and then that's it, right? Loading a trailer throughout the day is important because you want to get in, you want to get out, and get as many done as possible. In my personal opinion, when it comes to efficiency, I think the stand on is a superior machine because of the size that it has. And the other part of that, with the stand on being a little bit lighter, that slim trim look, it is a lighter machine. If there's boggy areas, if there's wet areas, the stand on machine is a much better choice because it's not as bulky and you're more likely to get through that rather than getting stuck with a zero turn sit down that is more weight, bigger tires. All of that kind of goes into play. If you're going through wet areas, you want to make sure that you're using the light machine, because if you get stuck, that cuts into your time. You got to get that mower out. That cuts into your time of the day and you don't get as many done. That lessens your profitability, that lessens your efficiency. One thing that I will say though, in my personal experience, when it comes to inclines, when it comes to hillsides like this, where you're maybe going straight across or going up and down, in my personal opinion, the zero turn sit down is the superior machine. You cannot go wrong with it because there's way more safety when it comes to it with weight distribution. I think with the stand on, the only safety thing when it comes to doing hillsides like that is you can step off the machine, as mentioned before. But when it comes to it, just choose the zero turn sit down because you have way more weight distribution and it's a bulkier machine, which means the weight of the machine is way more balanced. And I think that there you can add things to that to make sure that it is more safe when it comes to it. You could add weight sides to it. All of that comes into play when you're doing incline style things or incline style properties where they have those banks that you need to make sure you get cut. If you're going up and down, if you're going side to side, all of that comes into play. And I personally think that the zero turn sit down mower is superior when it comes to that. You have way more comfortability and you just have way more stable ride than the stand on machine gives, because the stand on machine just doesn't have that weight distribution because it's a slimmer trim that the sit down does. I think another big thing for me when it comes to what I'm using within my fleet, having a stand on and sit down machine, is the maintenance. A lot of these machines, I feel like the sit down mowers, they can find everything near the engine. And it's really hard to get your hand into, I don't know, pull an oil thing or check anything because it's just so confined. You can't get any wrenches in there if you need it. You can't get any tools in there that if you need it. Whereas the sit down mowers, everything's in front and it feels way more open. And maintenance is a big thing. You have to make sure your machines are continuously maintained and up to date, because if you don't, you're going to have breakdowns and then you are out and you have to stop your day and go get a part or fix an oil thing or whatever the breakdown is. You have to take time out of your day to fix it. In my personal opinion, the stand-on machines are way more maneuverable when it comes to any maintenance within the engine, air filters, all of that sort of thing. I personally think the stand-on is way, way better and way more easier to maneuver around things because it's a little bit more open. So another thing that I like to do is ask my guys which mower style they prefer. I think that's a big thing that a lot of companies don't do with their employees, is ask for their opinions and thoughts of the machines that they're operating. For a lot of reasons, I've heard both sides of it. I had one employee say, "Hey, I love the sit-down mowers," and I have had a few other employees say the stand-on mowers are superior. We should just be running these. This is a conversation that you need to have with your guys because they're the ones out there running these pieces of equipment. For me, I do run it. I'm in the field most times throughout the week. But for a lot of guys, some of you guys who are business owners who aren't in the field as much, your employees' opinions matter. They want to know, they want to feel comfortable on machinery that you buy, that they operate every single day. If they prefer stand-ons, maybe go in that direction because they'll feel more comfortable and they'll get the job done quicker because that's what they prefer. When it comes to getting safety wise, if your employees don't feel safe on the zero turn sit downs because of this, that, or this, and they prefer the stand on machine to it, then that makes more sense. You should go the stand on. But if you have a lot of open areas and they're going, man, it's much better to be on the sit down machine, which is another argument I've had within my company. I get that, because if you're more comfortable and you can just kind of go through your motion in an open area, commercial sites, large acreage properties, things of that nature. We have a big ass property, wedding venue property, where a sit down machine is way more profitable, way more efficient than a stand on machine would be. So I've had an employee say a sit down, I've had an employee say a stand on. It all comes down to what property types you have and what your guys are mowing with. If your guys say to you, hey, I prefer the stand on machines to the sit down machines, maybe that's a direction you go in, because it makes them feel like they're involved, but also they're comfortable operating these machines rather than, I got to use the sit down machine. God damn it. Or, I have to use a stand on machine all day. My arms are going to be absolutely fried at the end of the day. Those all those little things matter when you have those conversations with your employees, because their opinions matter within your company, because they're the ones out there doing the service and doing the work. You want them to be using the equipment that they're comfortable with. So lastly, I want to just talk about the cost, right? What is going to be the best for your company? Cost wise, I'm just looking at Skag because that's my brand. That's what I use in my fleet. Like, that's my number one brand that I use. Stand on machines cost wise, the V Ride 2 right now, I think you can get a 48-inch Kohler or Kawasaki for about 11 grand. If you're going up to 52 or 61, it gets up to, close to $12,000 to $13,000. If you're going to, this is just, again, I'm using Skag, Turf Tiger, or I'm sorry, the Tiger Cat 2, which is their lower cost ones when it comes to their sit down zero turns. Obviously, the Turf Tiger and the Cheetah, they're their big two commercial mowers. This one's kind of the commercial mower for, say, somebody who just needs a sit down mower. It's around the same price point. Now, here's the thing. What is going to give you the best return on investment, the ROI? What is going to give you and make you more profitable and efficient when it comes to your business, and for your guys to get in and out as quick as possible? So here's the part of it that I personally think of when it comes to ROI. If a piece of machinery is getting things done quick and quality-wise, if you get any big brand, the cut quality is going to be great. In my personal opinion, Exmark or Skag are the two best when it comes to cut quality. But that's beside the point. That's my personal opinion. When it comes to making sure that the cut quality is really good and you're getting in and out in a timely fashion so that you can get more done in a day and be more efficient, I think the stand-on is superior. I think it is. I think when it comes to overall versatility, the stand-on machine is a better option when it comes to saving time within your day. On the flip side of that, if you have like I've been saying, if you have a lot of commercial slots or you have a lot of big open areas on these properties, maybe then it would save you more time with a sit down mower. Again, it all comes down to what property types you have in your routes. If you have a lot of residential, if you have a lot of HOA properties, the stand-on machine is your number one choice. I'm just going to say it to you point blank. It's your number one choice. It is way more versatile, way quicker, and you can get around things quicker. Whereas a zero turn sit down, it takes a lot more time to pick up things that are in the yard. It takes more time to go around obstacles. It takes more time to back up the machine. Overall, I think the stand on is better for those residential HOA areas. If you have bigger properties, the sit down mower is superior, in my personal opinion. But I would love to know what your thoughts are. When it comes to pricing points, you can find machines that are very similar when it comes to price, horsepower, things of that nature. All the machines are fast nowadays, so I don't think you have to really go, okay, well, this one gives me one more horsepower than the other one. I don't think that's a thing, because most of these come with Cowie engines or Vanguard engines. You're going to get the horsepower that you paid for, and there's not really a comparison anymore when it comes to speed. However, I will say that the stand-on is more, when it comes to weight, it's a lighter machine, which means aerodynamic kind of shit. Like, it might be a little bit faster on mile per hour kind of thing. But again, I think that in retrospect, in all serious, they're very similar when it comes to horsepower and speed. So I wouldn't really go into too much with that. I don't think you really have to go, oh my God, I need to get this horsepower. Blah, blah, blah. I don't think you need to do that, because they're very comparable. Fuel efficiency is another thing that you need to take into consideration. Some of these zero-turn engines are massive. They eat fuel, okay? So just have that kind of conversation in your head too when you're buying a machine is this going to fit my fuel? You don't want to be going to the gas station all the time. You don't want to be filling up the 5-gallon cans all the time. You want to make sure that you have machines that are fuel efficient and that they can get the job done in a timely fashion with great cut quality and safety. My personal opinion, stand-on, I've seen has way better fuel capacity than the sit-down mowers. That's just my personal opinion. If you think differently, let me know in the comments. I love having conversation with my peers within this industry. I'm going to say it again because I sound like a broken record, but it's the truth. It's all personal preference and what's going to fit your property types that you have on your route that is going to define what mower you should buy. Do your research. What is going to be best? I'm making this video to have a conversation with the comments, with my peers, to see what everybody's working with and get some good talking points and get a good discussion going in the comments below. In my personal opinion, I think that when it comes to the stand-on machines, they're way more versatile. They can really do the work on any property, whereas the zero-turn sit-downs cannot. That's my personal opinion. That's what I've seen within my company. That doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong, or you're right and I'm wrong. It just is about what property types you have. So I'm going to leave you with this. It's going to be a conversation topic in the comments below. What are you guys rocking? Which mower, in your opinion, which mower style is your favorite? What do you prefer? Do you prefer the stand-on machines? Do you prefer the sit-down machines? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation about this because this is one of the hottest debates when it comes to lawn care. Which is superior, which is better? In my personal opinion, a mix of both is the best option because some property types fit machines differently. I think if you have both on your trailer, you can never go wrong, in my personal opinion. That's just my personal opinion. That's what I'm rocking with. Doesn't mean that you can't rock 2 stand-ons, 3 stand-ons, or 3 sit-down mowers. I've seen it all. I've seen companies do all stand-on. I've seen companies do all sit-down. What is your guys' fleet looking like going into 2026? Which are you guys looking to maybe buy this spring? What are you looking at when it comes to a mower? Which brands are you rocking? I would love to know it all. I want to have a good conversation and respectful conversation in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear from you. I'm really trying my best to kind of have these debates when it comes to things within our industry that we all love and is our passion and is our livelihood. So leave a like if you guys enjoyed this video. I really do appreciate it. It does help us out a ton. Be sure to subscribe for more lawn care and landscaping content. We have so much coming this year. I'm so excited to be back and making content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.